Hi everybody, my name is Christy Love and I'm a professional organizer and owner of Simple Organized Sanity Professional Organizing Services. We specialize in helping moms and families get more organized and save time, money, and energy by giving you some great tips and ideas that you can use at your house. And I know that we all need a little bit more organized sanity in our life, so that's kind of why we're here. But today we're here because we're going to talk about this behind me, which is actually a system to help organize all of the school papers and things that your kids bring home all the time. I deal with a lot of clients on a daily basis, and that's one of the most frequently asked questions is how can I store that stuff on a daily basis as well as for long term, those things that we want to keep and that are memories and keepsakes. And so what I want to do in this short little video is I want to walk you through this system that I personally use at my house. I'm going to give you a couple of adaptations to that if the file boxes aren't something that you're interested in that you could still use. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you my personal set of papers that I need to put through these systems. And don't worry, I'm not going to make you go through all those with me. That's my job later. But I'm going to kind of explain to you how it is that I would go through those and why it's so important that I include my kids in that process. And I'll explain that to you here in a minute. But before I begin, what I want to do is just show you back here. You'll notice that what I have are 3 plastic file crates. Okay, and I've chosen plastic file crates for 2 important reasons. Number one, they were budget friendly. And at our house, like most houses in America, we're always looking for the most budget-friendly ways to get organized and stay organized, because getting organized does not have to cost a lot, which is a big misconception that a lot of people typically have. Number 2 is they're durable, they're portable, they're easy and family-friendly. I can pick this up and take it with me when I go to speak somewhere to show them an example. If my kids want to look through some of their old work, we can pull this out of the closet and just sit down and look through it together. They're really durable. The kids aren't going to tear them up. So this is why this is a good option for my family. You don't have to use plastic file crates like this. You can use plastic file boxes that have the lids. You can use cardboard banker's boxes. You can use a file cabinet, all kinds of different things with this system, okay? But the key to this system is all the same no matter what you're putting it in, and that is hanging file folders that are in here and labeled with my kids' initials and the year. So what I have, for example, I'm going to pull out my my oldest son's first grade folder, okay? And make sure I grab all of it, sorry. Okay, this is his first grade folder. Everything from first grade is going to fit into this hanging file folder. Okay, which is really great space-saving options for all of us moms, okay? Let me show you some of the things that I'm keeping in here. And keep in mind, this is reoccurring in each one of these boxes. This will have different initials but the same years labeled for my middle son. This one, my daughter's initials and her years. So it's the exact same kind of concept in all the boxes. But some of the things that we would have kept were, this was an art project that he did listing all of his favorite things one day, which was kind of fun. This was a program for a play that he was in, so that's kind of a neat thing for us to keep. This was a love letter that he got from a girl for the very first time. He'll hate it that I kept that later. These were some awards that he received, and I just attached little notes onto them to remind me what he won them for. We've got his first grade picture that's in there. I've also got some newspaper clippings from him that year. And then we've got some of his assignments that he enjoyed that year. One of his very first spelling tests are in here. I've got his grade card is in here from that year, some testing that he did, his swimming lessons for him, all that kind of stuff is all here in this folder. One other thing that I put in this folder that I love, which is a huge secret to why this file folder can be as small as it is the CD-ROM. And let me tell you what's on the CD-ROM. What I like to do with my kids, because all of my kids are super artistic, what I like to do is at the end of each quarter, after we sort through this basket, I pull out the art projects, the pictures, the doodles, those kind of things that are really important to them that they're so proud of. And I scan them into the computer. It usually takes me an evening. And I save them each into their own individual file folder. And I continue to do that throughout the year. So each quarter, I'll set aside a night to do that. Then at the end of the year, I take each one of those kids' file folders that has all their pictures from the year scanned in it, and I download it onto this disk. So I don't have to keep all the art projects and all of the doodles and all of the different things like that. Instead, I can keep one CD-ROM that has all of that stuff on there for me, which allows me to save a lot of space, a lot of time, which is really nice too. So this is the system that I use at my house. It's really easy. It's very easy to maintain. It's also easy to reference. So if you want to go back and look for something really quickly, you're not having to dig through huge big boxes that are just kind of all lumped together from the years, which is really nice too. So now the next question would be, how do I get all of this stuff into there? Because definitely this much stuff isn't going to fit into there. So here's what I would do. I would set aside a night with my kids that we could work together for one evening each quarter. That's really what works best for my family. Now, some families that might not work the best. Some families might want to do just once a semester or even once a year if you have a huge, gigantic box that you want to collect, I guess. But what I'll do with this is I'll separate these out into piles. One for my oldest, one for my middle, and then another for my youngest daughter. And I will take a few minutes with each of those kids and go through them individually. That's a really fun time for me as a mom, just to be able to go through and encourage them and uplift them and just say, hey, look what a great job you did this quarter. You've done really, really well, and just really praise them. Kids love that. And up until usually that 5th grade year, this is a really fun time with kids. It's a really great time. So I will go through that pile with each of them. And then from that pile, my kids and I will make separate piles. We'll make a pile of the things they absolutely have to keep, that they want to go in these boxes. Things that they really like, but maybe we can scan them in, or we can send them to a friend or email them or different things like that, so that we don't necessarily have to keep the hard copies, but that they're not just necessarily getting rid of. And then the last pile is things that really neither one of us think that we need to keep. We can recycle those pretty much right away. So that's how I'm going to go through these things, okay? And then with that pile of things that they do necessarily absolutely want to keep, those precious little memories that we have with them, I will put those in the correct year and label it with their initials. So it's a really easy to use process. Now, let me tell you how important it is that you include your kids in this process. And let me tell you why. Because I know that there's a lot of you parents out there who are probably saying, oh my goodness, you have to be kidding. This would be so much easier if I did this by myself. It's going to take forever with my children. It will take a little bit longer with your kids. I'm not going to lie to you. But let me tell you why it's so important that you include them. 2 reasons. Number 1, really honestly, this is one of the first exposures that your kids get to making some really difficult decisions about what's important to keep, what can be donated, what can be recycled, which, let's face it, that's a skill that the earlier they learn it and the longer they have to develop it, the more likely they are to be successful with it when they get to be adults. And hopefully they won't ever be those clients that I hear from that can't figure out how to condense down 65 coffee mugs or 10,000 ink pens and things like that, because they just feel the need to keep every single one of them. So this is one of those very first chances for them to kind of cut some of the emotional ties to things and really just take a look at the natural space limits that they have and how can they get around that, how can they save things. So it's a really important lesson for kids to learn. The second reason that it is so important for kids to be able to be involved in this process now is so that they can develop the skills early in those elementary years and things like that, where there's just a lot of stuff. So that later, when you're dealing with middle school kids, high school kids, even college-age kids, they're going to be able to do this more on their own. They're going to be able to start to go through their stuff and figure out what needs to be kept, what can be pitched out, what can be recycled or donated or scanned into the computer and saved for later. And so you're going to gradually move them towards a little bit of independence with some of these issues. So I really encourage you parents to, first of all, establish a system like this, something that can work for your family, for your space constraints. If file boxes, file crates, those kind of things don't work for you, another option is to use something like this, which is an accordion file that you can open up and label with all their years, and you can get a lot of the same kind of things in here, awards, pictures, CDs, things like that. You're not going to be able to store quite as many papers or quite as many projects or things like that as you could with file crates, but it's another great space-saving option that you can use as well. Whatever your system that you choose is, put a system in place, set aside a regular time to go through papers, and involve your kids in that process, because it's guaranteed to make the whole thing a little bit more successful for everybody. If you guys need any more organization tips and help, I encourage you to visit our website, www.simpleorganizedsanity.com, and hopefully we will see you back here soon with another video on another great topic to help you get more organized. Thanks so much. Have a great day.